Right, we've got a water tap here that's leaking, an outside tap, and I just thought, you know, it's one of the hundreds of jobs I do that you'd probably appreciate. A lot of people would like to see how this sort of thing's repaired, but basically it's there's no nice way of putting it. It's been botched up, really. It's not the correct way of fixing such a tap. They've used the wrong sort of, it's a flexi copper tube coming out of there. It's just not the right thing for this job, and it's been repaired a few times, but I've just noticed now the pipe is actually split just right there, and that's what's causing this great big damp patch. So we're going to look at starting from fresh and just putting it all in new. So follow along and you'll see how it's done, and we'll see if we can do a much better job than this. And in all fairness, it's lasted you know, 10 plus years at least, so it hasn't done badly, but we'll see if we can do it right. Right, what I've done is I've come into the house here and I've gone into the kitchen cupboard, and I've cut a little panel out in the back of the cupboard to see where our offending object is, and we're here. And let's see how well the camera's picking up there. I've tried to put some additional light on the issue, but we've got this flexi copper tube running in around there. So what I'll do is I'll try to replace all of that, and I'll put in what they call I'll put in an isolation valve in as well, so it can be switched off from inside as well in the cold winter months, so, you know, save any risk of it freezing and bursting. So I'm quite tempted. I'm thinking about it whether I may use some plastic fittings, what they call speed fits, where you can just push them together, or solder in a whole new section. So I'll have a little think on that now. Just thought I'd quickly show you what I picked up from the plumber's merchant. It's what they call a hose union, and basically that bit goes all the way through the wall, and your tap screws on to that side, so it'll be a much neater job than we've got. And I thought for the cost of it, may as well just pick up a new tap. So we've got all this exposed there, we'll bring it through there. Right. So I've just turned the water off underneath the sink, and I've got this hose pipe plugged in to a drain off valve up there, and just taking any of the excess waters, just a few little drips there. And then I'm going to make a start on, excuse the light, on taking this apart here. So we're going to, I don't know if I should try to get some additional light in here for the filming. So I'm going to disconnect it there, get rid of all of this, and put in all new there, and I'll show you as I go along. Right, I'm using my phone camera light here, so put a bit of light on the matter. I'd like to just show you how you shouldn't put an outside tap, and this is what we've just removed. This is the old bit of corrugated sort of flexi, you don't see it used much now, copper pipe. You know, it's designed to be used as a tap fitting, like underneath sinks and baths and things like that. Look at that kink there, it's a big water restriction, and could have easily gone at that point. It did actually go, this was the outside where it was damaged. So we've removed that, and we're just going to show what you think how it should be properly done. So we'll just feed this new part back in, and we'll tee off here. So I've cut it back there, we'll put a new piece there and straight into the, and you'll see it'll be a much neater job. And just for additional insurance in the future, we're going to put a isolation valve or a service valve, whichever way you wish to call it, to if there's any issue it can be easily isolated and repaired. So this is what we're going to put in from the other side. Tell you what, we'll just quickly nip out while we've got the camera on, and I'll show you what's what. Hopefully I don't need to re-drill the hole. I think this should just slide straight in. So there it goes. And it doesn't quite line up, so I might put my drill through there. Oh, it's a bit of a squeeze, it might go. No, I think I'll put my drill through there so we're not sort of forcing anything. Yeah, the hole on the other side doesn't seem to quite line up properly. So we'll just make sure we get good access through that way. So I'll get that done, and then we'll... Right, I did end up having to re-drill the hole. It just wasn't straight and it didn't line up, the old one. So I put the fixings in there ready to receive the new, you focus on there, the new tap. And I had to use that great big drill bit there, the 16mm one, and it's got to go through a good foot of wall there. It's the cavity walls. You've got your one skin in internal and external. So we'll slide that through, and I'll screw this in. Always bear with me, guys, because I'm on my own. So I'm trying to do all this by myself. See how well those holes line up. Oh, that looks pretty good. I'm going to see if I can continue to film and put these bits in. A little tripod or something like that would probably be handy now, wouldn't it? Or tripod or an assistant, one or the other. Let's get that in there. And one in there. Oh gosh, a pucker. There we go. So we got a screw there. And one in there. Oh, I'll get that one in later. I'll zap those in where you get the idea. We'll get a couple in there just to... There we go. And I'll zap him in. That looked 10 times better than the previous one, because they use these hose fit attachments. We can put that, actually don't cross thread that, doesn't, oh there we go. It's a much better result, isn't it? Looks nicer and it looks right as well. So I'll press on with what we're doing inside, and we'll take it from there. Right, I've just done a mock-up of everything, so nothing's soldered or bolted up, but this is what it looks like now. So we got it going outside there, got our little isolation valve there, and that's teed into the new piece, teed into the old pipework there. So I may struggle. I do apologise, but I'll see if it's possible or not to film it while I'm soldering everything. But if you look at some of my earlier videos, it shows quite a bit of soldering on there when I'm building a solder panel, and the other two fittings there are compression fittings, which are quite straightforward. Just remember to put the olive in and tighten them up. So we'll have a little blast at that, and we'll look at the finished result. I've got to take additional caution and care because we got electrical wires there. We're going to have the heat gun on there, so or plumber's torch, so we got to sort of protect those wires there somehow. So I'll make sure they're out of the way or insulated really well. Rightio, here goes. Right, I thought I'd take a quick moment just to run through the procedure of me soldering these pipes. I've removed everything from there, as you can see, and it's all here. So basically it's very simple. Like I got here, we got the flux, which will go on the ends of here before we solder, and that just draws in, and it also cleans the joint and draws in the solder. We're using a lead-free solder because it's connected to the drinking water, the mains there, so it's regulations these days that we use lead-free solder here in the UK. So it's really simple. Basically, I always use, some people are finicky, I've never had issue with it, but I just use the actual solder, dip it in there and run it right the way around and get plenty on there. So that's basically it. So, and then it's all soldered together. So simply, again, just because I'm working on my own, it's very difficult to show, but it's just a quick saying exactly what how it all goes together, and I've already tightened these joints up so they're nice and tight, and I used a jointing compound just around the olive of the joint before I tightened it all up. So I'll get all that together and we'll get it all soldered up. Right, we're all done now, so it's all gone relatively okay. I've turned the mains back on. We have water coming out there, lovely. And there's the finished results. You can see the soldering. There's extra precaution required there with all those electrical wires. And I'll have a really good look in there, make sure everything's dry. Looks good. You know straight away if there's any leaks. So let's go outside, have a quick test. I've just plugged in that hose pipe just because all my tools are here. I tell you what, we could actually just run it into that this watering can. I'll tell you what, forget that. This is the issues again with filming by yourself. So we'll plug that in there. Put the tap on. Oh, there we go. A few little splutters, and we'll have some water. So that's all working fabulously. So just remember how it was when we started and how it looks now. Much nicer job. In a day or two all this will have dried up as well, or the brickwork. So open that right up. And that's basically putting a new outside tap on. Very straightforward. Anything is if you know how, I suppose, but hopefully that could help you out. And as usual, like and subscribe, and everybody who comments is more than welcome. You know, I try to answer as many questions as possible. So please go through my videos. You might find something else there, and I'll keep adding as much content as possible. Thanks a lot then.